Allama Iqbal and Francis Fukuyama, an intellectual exchange between two civilizations, the metaphysical idealism of the East and the liberal realism of the West.
Democracy, Mr. Iqbal, is the triumph of the individual over tyranny. It is the celebration of choice, of self-rule. In this system, man governs himself not by divine decree, but by rational consensus. Why should we hand back that freedom to some imagined metaphysical order?
Because without a spiritual center, your freedom becomes a mirage. You have given man the vote, but taken from him his vision. You celebrate the individual, but which individual? The one cut off from his creator, from his higher self? That is not freedom, it is exile.
So you would trade the messy progress of democracy for the illusion of divine order. Look around you. I can point to 1,000 tyrannies disguised in the robe of religion. When man stops questioning, he stops growing.
I ask not for silence of the mind, but for the awakening of the soul. Your democracy produces the economic man, chained not by monarchs, but by markets, by media, by ego. The West built machines, but forgot the meaning. A self without a higher purpose becomes its own prison.
But the West gave the world rights, science, choice. We dismantled the divine right of kings. We gave the common man a voice. Surely that matters more than clinging to ancient metaphysics.
And yet your common man is still lost, drowning in excess, yet starving for purpose. Your skyscrapers touch the clouds, but your hearts fear the silence of the night. I do not oppose science. I oppose soullessness. Islam, as I see it, is not stagnation. It is a revolution rooted in divine dynamism.
And yet your revolution is inward. Ours is outward. You want to reshape the soul. We want to reshape society. Isn't that more practical, more real?
Society is the reflection of the soul. You polish the glass, I light the lamp behind it. Without kuti, selfhood rooted in God, your progress is mere motion, not meaning. I seek a man who does not just exist, but burns with purpose.
You invoke God as the foundation of society. But history has shown us, when God governs the state, often men suffer in his name. Isn't it wiser to separate religion from politics, faith from law? We cannot build pluralism on the soil of dogma.
You misunderstand me, Fukuyama. I do not call for theocracy. I call for Tawheed, the unity of existence. A spiritual foundation that informs justice, not replaces it. The West separates church and state. Islam integrates the soul and society. Without God, your state becomes a machine. Efficient, yes, but lifeless.
And with God, your state risks becoming a mirror of absolutism. Capitalism, for all its flaws, gave birth to innovation, prosperity, and liberation from feudal stagnation. You speak of soul, but people also need bread, security, opportunity.
Bread bought with the price of dignity is dust. Your capitalism creates hunger in the soul even when the stomach is full. It breeds anxiety, envy, competition without compassion. What is the worth of success if man becomes a commodity?
So you oppose capitalism, you fear democracy. Do you propose some utopia drawn from scripture? A romantic dream of the past?
No. I propose a future rooted in transcendence. A new man, not westernized, not enslaved by materialism, but awakened to his kuti. You gave the world the Industrial Revolution, but forgot the inner revolution. I call for ijtihad, independent reasoning, rooted in revelation, but fearless before change.
And what of education? We built systems where a child of a worker can become a scientist. Isn't that real progress?
Your education produces clever minds, but empty hearts. It teaches how to calculate, but not why to live. In the East, the goal was always selfhood before skill. Knowledge must serve purpose, and purpose must serve something greater than man.
Iqbal, the world has changed. Artificial intelligence, biotech, space travel, we are evolving. The questions of old gods seem distant to a generation raised on code and connectivity. Isn't it time to move forward without the crutches of metaphysics?
The machine is faster, yes. But is it wiser? You speak of AI, but man has not yet learned to know himself. What good is expanding to Mars if his soul remains exiled on Earth? Your modernity is movement without meaning, a race with no finish line.
But can't we create meaning ourselves? Through art, love, science? Must we inherit meaning from above? Is that not a kind of submission?
Submission to the real is not slavery. It is freedom. You are right. Man must create. But creation without remembrance is arrogance. Technology must be guided by values, not profit, not power, but an awareness of our fragility, our mortality.
And what of death then? When the lights go out, is that not the end? We live, we pass on knowledge, and then darkness. Why not make peace with that?
Because man is more than dust. He carries eternity in his chest. The self does not vanish. It transforms. Death is not annihilation. It is migration. You build legacies in stone and steel. I seek to build one in spirit, in the hearts of those not yet born.
So your legacy is not in what you leave behind, but in what you awaken.
Exactly. A single verse that ignites a soul is greater than 1,000 machines. Modernity without meaning is like a body without a heart. I am not against progress. I am against progress that forgets the face of the divine.
You've challenged me, Iqbal, and I'll admit, there's something haunting in your words. Maybe it's not that the West has no soul, but that we've forgotten to feed it.
And I do not deny your people have achieved much. You tamed nature, you cured disease, you gave the world tools, but tools must serve truth, not replace it.
We thought we could live without the sacred, replace it with ethics, with rationality. But even now, I sense it, an emptiness, a hunger that technology can't reach.
Because man is not just a brain. He is yearning. He is dust, yes, but also divine fire. That fire must be nurtured, not with noise, but with silence, not with algorithms, but with vision.
And if we fail, if we lose that vision?
Then we become what Rumi feared. You were born with wings. Why prefer to crawl through life? Without meaning, man becomes a stranger to himself. But I still believe, Fukuyama. Even now, I believe in the soul's return, in a new renaissance, not of flesh, but of spirit.
Perhaps your faith is the very thing we lack.
Not just faith, conviction. To believe that man is not merely a reaction, but a revelation. The West lit up the sky with its inventions, but forgot to ask, what illuminates the heart? I do not curse your brilliance. I only warn of a world where man forgets he has a soul. Let us not compete in who shouts louder, but in who dares to listen deeper. For the future belongs not to the loudest voice, but to the quiet flame that refuses to die.